Tonight on Brian Ross Investigates, dramatic new revelations in the sex trafficking case against the self-proclaimed apostle, the man who leads a church that claims 5 million members. Nason Joaquin Garcia in court in Los Angeles as prosecutors provide new details of the allegations he recruited dozens of underage girls from his congregation for deviant sex acts.
He thinks he's not only an apostle, but he thinks he's the living Christ on this earth.
The apostle has pleaded not guilty, and church leaders are standing behind him. Plus, the U.S. Navy now confirms the saucer-shaped objects seen in videos are just what many said they were, UFOs, what the Navy's calling unidentified aerial phenomena.
Wow, look at it fly!
The UFO debate just got a lot hotter.
Nickel 6-1 Tango, Roger, over.
And our shout-out for the reporters in New Jersey who discovered a multi-million-dollar secret. Local police using money to keep their officers' misconduct from the public.
We totaled up some $60 million spent to hush allegations of police abuse.
From the Law and Crime Network studios in New York City's Herald Square, this is Brian Ross Investigates. And good evening, and thank you for joining us. We begin with new details in the case of the self-proclaimed apostle, the leader of a church that claims some 5 million members in the United States and more than 50 other countries around the world. Nason Joaquin Garcia was arrested over the summer and charged by the California Attorney General with 27 felony counts of sex trafficking and the production of child pornography. He has pleaded not guilty, and today in Los Angeles, prosecutors began to lay out their case against a man who tells his followers he is the only person on earth who speaks to God. The day began in Los Angeles as prosecutors turned over to his lawyers a disc with some of the sex videos they say they found on the apostle's electronic devices.
There's devices that have content that we've identified as child pornography. What we've done with those is we've provided defense with a PDF file of the metadata in the everything but the photos and videos. And then we've made the photos and videos available to them to review, which they've been doing since Monday. Okay. There's also a group of devices that have what our experts refer to as age-difficult images, where there is breast development, but the girls look quite young. So we are not, at this juncture, in a position to say with absolute certainty these are 18 or 19-year-olds rather than 15, 16, or 17-year-olds.
Are you putting those items or images in the category of child pornography?
No, those are separate because child pornography means we've identified them with certainty as being under 18. Age difficult means we have not been able to confirm their identities yet.
Okay.
But we have some concern based on the nature of the case and the other devices where we have confirmed it that they may be minors. So without further due diligence, we didn't want to simply copy the images and provide them. Rather, those also, we've handled those the same way as the child pornography.
So the metadata has been provided and the images are available?
Correct.
Okay.
That's not really compliance. And so it's a little misleading to suggest on this very beautifully done spreadsheet that all the yes boxes means that we have all the data. We have exactly nothing. We have nothing. Well, I don't think that's quite true. I think there's a little bit of data that we do have, and I'll let Mr. Mason explain what that is.
Lawyers for Garcia claiming they're not getting all the evidence they want. Executive producer Rhonda Schwartz is in Los Angeles today to cover the court hearing and joins us now from outside the courthouse. Rhonda, it seemed like a contentious hearing between the prosecutors from the Attorney General's office and Garcia's own lawyers.
It was indeed, and as you can see, the man known to his followers as the Apostle is in his orange jumpsuit, having traded in his tuxedo, and surrounded by his lawyers today. They argued that the defense has been slow to turn over critical pieces of electronic evidence that was seized in a raid of his properties. The key witnesses in this case are known as Jane Does 1 through 4, but what backs their story up is this physical evidence that the prosecution claims they have. And these videos, it's cell phones, computers, we don't really know the full extent. It's only been described as 50 electronic devices, apparently contain videos of the sex acts themselves that he's been charged with underage girls, including forcible rape of a minor.
And of course, in the filing papers by the Attorney General's office, they said at one point he had the young girls put whipped cream on each other and then lick it off. Sort of a very offensive, if true. Also in the courtroom, Rhonda, we see a couple of women who are charged with him. What's the story with them?
Well, you saw in the courtroom today three women, who've been charged with his accomplices. These are young women who have been in the inner circle of the church, who are charged with effectively, as in the Jeffrey Epstein case, recruiting these underage minors. They were in the court filings. The Attorney General says that they recruited minors and had them dressed provocatively like schoolgirls. They had them put whipped cream on each other, and they described various sex acts that they seem to have on these videotape recordings that they have. So one of the women is still at large, but Susanna Owaka was in the court today, and I spoke to her briefly. She's released on house arrest. She was surrounded by attorneys, wouldn't say anything, very polite, shook my hand. Quiet throughout, neither of the women had anything to say.
Rhonda Schwartz, thank you very much. Outside the courthouse in Los Angeles. Stay on the story. All of this is being closely watched by a group of former members of the Apostles' Church who have banded together in an effort to expose what they claim is its corruption, greed, and sexual depravity. Raquel Guerra was 14 years old and living in Texas when she was told by her church that she had to marry her boyfriend because they had had sex. They had fornicated, her pastor told her.
I kind of felt like there wasn't really a choice because you're kind of scared of actually going to hell because they really, really put that in your head.
And she says it became a marriage marked by physical abuse and heartbreak, with the church indifferent to her plight.
Maybe it's something that I'm doing to pray to God, maybe to change my ways, that maybe I'm provoking this in some way.
And now former members of the church have begun to organize, using social media, including this site on Reddit, a public effort to expose what they say is the corrupt, hypocritical, and immoral leadership of Joaquin Garcia and his worldwide church.
He's demented. He's not right in the head. He thinks he's not only an apostle, but he thinks he's the living Christ on this earth. When he speaks to his congregation, he literally, when he walks through his walkway, he says, "You have not received me only as an apostle of Christ. You have received me as Jesus Christ himself."
And the church spends huge sums on its apostle, with elaborate birthday party celebrations. This church in Oregon posted a big public happy birthday video. The church has built a private zoo and ranch for the apostle in Texas. And even as he was behind bars in California, his daughter was married in an over-the-top wedding in California, to the dismay of many former members.
It kind of aggravates me because I know how hard the church members try to give as much as they can. They go without. To be blessed to give such a big offering and for them to do things of this nature with their hard-earned money.
The church insists its leader, the apostle, is innocent of any wrongdoing, and it has told its followers to pray for Joaquin Garcia to be found not guilty. Church leaders have also told members to shun, to ignore those who speak out against him.
Even if it were your brother, your father, your mother, avoid speaking to them, because their word eat away like gangrene, because it is very dangerous to speak with those people.
The way it works in the church is that if you're not with them, you're against them. The way it works, what they preach is, if you are deviating from the path of the Lord, you're from the devil now. The devil has gotten you. The devil has done everything he could with you. So your conversations, you're pretty much meaningless.
Raquel Guerra says she had to leave the church once she sought a divorce from her husband, causing strains with her family.
I mean, we do talk, of course, but I really don't have a really close relationship with my family. And especially probably after this, wouldn't be surprised if I'm disowned.
Because you're talking with us right now.
Yes.
That would be seen as a sin?
Oh, it's worse than a sin. It's going against the man of God. It's beyond a sin.
And why are you,
Even go ahead, sorry.
and so why are you doing it?
Because I'm tired of seeing my family just being deceived. And they really don't see it. As much as you try and tell them, show them facts, they refuse to even consider that this could be a cult.
Again, the Apostle Joaquin Garcia has denied all of the allegations against him. We asked his lawyers and church representatives to be here tonight on our program, but they declined. The offer remains open as we continue to investigate this important story. Next up, those U.S. Navy videos that officials now confirm are unidentified flying objects, defying the law of aerodynamics. We turn now to a fascinating development that has turned science fiction into science nonfiction. In the movies, UFOs, flying saucers, have been imagined in lots of ways over the years, but no official government source has ever confirmed that anything like this actually exists. Until now, with a U.S. Navy spokesperson for the first time confirming that a series of videos made by U.S. Navy jet fighters show exactly what many theorized they did show: unidentified flying objects, or what the Navy prefers to call unidentified aerial phenomena. The videos were first released by a group called To the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences. The videos comes from an encounter by a U.S. Navy jet fighter near San Diego in 2015. The pilot and the weapons systems operator used their advanced tracking devices to record an object that some analysts say shows never-before-seen flight capabilities.
Dude, that is a fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is an LNS, dude. Well, if there's like... Look at that thing. It's rotating.
The second video, from 2004 off the coast of San Diego, was recorded by a U.S. Navy FA-18 Super Hornet jet fighter, tracking an object traveling at a high rate of speed, zooming in and out, and then suddenly accelerating to the left, out of view of the sensors, at what some analysts call an unprecedented velocity without a sonic boom. Look at it again. The third video also was recorded in 2015 on the East Coast by a weapons systems operator with advanced tracking capabilities, astounding the operator and his pilot.
Nickel 6-1 Tango, Roger, oh, got it! Woohoo! Roger, there's troubleshooting. Did you box moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at it fly!
Those videos have been around for a few years, but it's only now that the U.S. Navy, through a spokesperson, Joseph Gradisher, confirmed in effect the Navy has no idea what those objects are. All of that came from the hard work of our next guest, John Greenwald, the creator of the online site Black Vault, which specializes in obtaining declassified government documents and has been researching UFOs since he was 15. John, thanks for joining us. What do you make of these videos?
You know, they're very, very interesting. I have watched the progression of the story since December of 2017 when the New York Times broke the story. Politico ran a story, and these videos, 2 of the 3 surfaced for the first time, or at least that's how it was reported. They're intriguing, I'll tell you that much. I mean, there's something that got my attention, and I wanted more answers. That's why I started pushing.
And you got the Navy to confirm that the videos are theirs, they are authentic, and in fact, they don't know what you're looking at there.
Yeah, to my surprise, they not only said the videos were real, they did say that we weren't supposed to see them, but on top of that, they did go on the record and say the U.S. Navy officially classifies them as what they call unidentified aerial phenomena. And so they can't identify them. They don't know what they are.
I talked to that same spokesman today at the Pentagon, Joe Gradisher, and he told me they now call them unidentified aerial phenomena, not UFOs, to essentially what he called destigmatize the reporting by pilots who sometimes are afraid to call in a UFO sighting for being kidded about it or made fun of.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the idea that I'm getting, that they want to encourage pilots, if they see something, to say something. And I think with the whole UFO stigma, the idea that if you report a UFO, you're some kind of crazy guy, they want that to go away. They want the men and women that are bravely flying in our skies to not feel bad if they see something that they can't identify. There should be a proper channel. So I think that's the intent with changing UFO to UAP.
And he said the incursions like these occur in training areas and that they continue to this day. He says they're a threat to the safety of the aviators and the security of their operations. So he's saying there still are more incursions from aircraft or aerial objects they don't know about.
Yeah, that's a real interesting part of this story, is the fact that these are not 3 isolated incidents, but rather they are 3 videos that have come by chance to us. I mean, they leaked out, and so we know the story now. But there are more, and obviously the Navy is going on the record and saying, hey, these things are not only unidentified, they call them a phenomena. They refer to them as UAPs, as you pointed out, but they're also going on the record saying, this isn't it. There's a lot more to this. How many more? They won't go on the record. They also issued statements that said anything and everything related to these UAP encounters will remain classified. So they've kind of shut the door on people like me getting that information or more videos. I'll still try anyway through the Freedom of Information Act, but through the Public Affairs Office, doesn't sound like it's going to happen.
You're going to still keep pushing because you feel there is more out there? Are there more videos you're hearing about?
Well, that kind of would be the obvious way to think about this. If the Navy is saying it's still happening and there's still incursions that are going on, in this day and age with all of these military bases and even our pieces of technology with flight cameras on board, there's probably more videos. And my guess is there would probably be a lot of videos, at least in my opinion anyway.
John Greenwald, thank you so much for joining us. Keep up the work.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Up next, our shout out for the reporters in New Jersey who uncovered a $60 million secret to cover up the wrongdoing of local police. And our shout out tonight goes to the reporters at the Asbury Park Press in New Jersey, a small newspaper with some very big accomplishments. A police chase in New Jersey led to this fiery scene. The car in flames was not part of it, but was instead driven off the road by the vehicle being chased. As the innocent driver, his clothing in flames, runs from his car for help, police arrive. And instead of helping him, some of the officers begin to kick him and then drag him away. The incident was one of dozens discovered by reporters for the Asbury Park, New Jersey Press, uncovering what was a $60 million secret involving out-of-court settlements that hid police misconduct.
These settlement agreements that we were reporting on mandate that both parties remain silent. If they were to be asked about the issue, they're just going to quietly go their ways, and the taxpayers end up footing the bill on this largely without knowing about it.
Andrew Ford was the lead reporter of a 5-reporter team at the Asbury Park Press in New Jersey, which produced a 19-part series called Protecting the Shield, a winner this year of an American Bar Association Silver Gavel Award.
Protecting the Shield was made necessary because of the shocking incidents that we were covering off of the Cops and Breaking News beat. Perhaps the most striking is a Neptune police sergeant who fatally shot his ex-wife in public after a car chase in front of their 7-year-old daughter. I ended up securing an exclusive interview with him and detailed the numerous warning signs that authorities had before that killing.
I killed the mother of my children, the woman who I was married to for more than 20 years.
This was an absolute team effort. A number of reporters, photographers, editors in the room were involved in putting this huge production together. It took us something like 2 years to get all this done. So this was a sweeping and comprehensive look at police accountability and problems in New Jersey.
In all, how many departments did you essentially pull records on?
We filed more than once requests with every department in the state. That's a total of something like 468 municipal police departments.
The reporting found more than 200 New Jersey citizens were victims of what the paper called rogue cops, including one man, unarmed, who died in police custody, his final agonizing moments caught on tape.
Tim, relax. You're gonna hurt yourself, man. Relax. No, you're not. No, buddy. Open the door. No, you're not. You're not gonna die, pal. Go ahead. Help. Yeah, I got my squad. I'm still dressed.
His family sued and settled for $350,000, a fact the New Jersey town was not happy to see published.
I think the town passed a resolution condemning the thrust of our reporting, but not finding any errors in the stories that we wrote.
They actually passed a resolution denouncing you?
Yes, the township passed a resolution denouncing us, but important to note, found no error in the story that we wrote about what happened in their town.
But the series had huge impact, including from a story of an officer killed off-duty in a car crash.
I found out that he was drunk and on drugs at the time, found out that his department didn't have a policy for random drug testing. So we requested drug testing policies from every department in the state and found that more than 100 departments did not have a policy for random drug testing of police officers.
This sounds like the kind of thing that any good local investigative team could do anywhere in the country.
And that's absolutely right. And you don't have to be an investigative reporter to do this kind of work. Investigative journalism is alive and well in New Jersey at the Asbury Park Press and at the other papers in the USA Today network. We're all working together out here, and we've continued to have follow-up stories, so stick with us and we'll keep it going.
So to Andrew Ford and his colleagues and his dynamic editor, Paul D'Ambrosio, a big shout out for letting its readers and New Jersey taxpayers in on the $60 million hush money secret. That's our program for this week. We hope to see you back here again next week.